Hi everyone. So today we are going to be looking into one-step equations, and you've probably heard this in year 8, year 7, and if not, primary school. Okay, so we're just going to do a little review again. So equations. So equations are basically expressions that have one or more terms that are equal to a number or an expression. Okay, an example of it can be h minus 2 equals to 9, or 2x plus 3 equals to 20. Okay, so it equals to a number, or the very last one where it equals to an expression. 5x minus 7 is equal to 8x plus 1, which is an expression. Okay, those are examples of equations, simple enough. Let's just go through one SST per numerals. Okay, we know in algebra, pronumerals mean letters, right? That's the basic way that we can explain it. Pronumerals are letters. In equations, those letters, okay, represents a number, a specific number. Okay, now let's move on. Things to know about equations. The first thing is that both sides needs to be balanced. So let's say, for example, if you minus 3 on one side, you have to minus 3 on the other side of the equal sign. Okay, if I have 3 circles here, looking at my balancing scale here, okay, if I've got 3 circles on one side, then I must have 3 circles on the other side to make sure it's equal and balanced. Okay, all right. Second thing is, if you are unsure if it's the correct answer, substitute your answer back into the equation. That's how I check if I've done the working out correctly. Okay, but that is something that we're going to look into next lesson. Okay. Now, before the examples, a little recap, because this is really important. If you don't know this basics, this will make it a little bit hard for you. Okay, so what I mean by that is all I'm doing is what's the opposite of addition, subtraction, duh, right? What is the opposite of multiplication? Division. Okay, simple as that. Those two things you need to know off by heart. Okay, write that down if you feel like you need to, just in case if you forget. Let's go to our first example. Our first example says solve the following equations. When it says solve, it means that I want x equal to something, or I want a letter equal to something. Okay, so I'll show you in that first example. X plus 4 equals to 9. I'm pretty sure you know what x should equal to, but equations needs to have, it follows a certain procedure, a certain method, and it must be done this way. Okay, so part of your working out, this is what we're going to do. If my goal is x equals to something, right, and I have a question that says x plus 4 equals to 9, I need to get rid of that plus 4 so that x is by itself, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to think, okay, what's the opposite of a plus 4? Minus 4. Right, so I'm going to minus 4 on the left-hand side, but what I do to one side, I must do it to the other with equations. You need to make sure it's balanced. 4 minus 4 gives me 0. On the left-hand side, I'm left with x equal me to 9 minus 4, which is 5. Okay, next part right here, y minus 5 equals to 15. I want y to be by itself, so that means I need to get rid of that minus 5. Okay, the opposite of minus 5 is plus 5. What I do to one side, I must do it to the other. These two will cancel out. I'm left with y on the left-hand side equal me to 15 plus 5, 20, which equals to 20. Okay, next one right here, 3m equals to 15. Between 3m and 3 and m, there's an invisible multiplication sign. We learned this in algebra. So what I want to do is, if I want m to be by itself, I need to do the opposite of 3 times. The opposite of 3 times is divided by 3. What I do to one side, I must do it to the other. 3 divided by 3 gives me 1. So what I'm going to write down on the left-hand side, if you would like, is 1m equal to 15 divided by 3 is equal to 4. Now you know, and I say this a lot, you don't have to write 1m equals to 5. Mathematicians are lazy, so that 1 is going to be invisible and it's not going to exist for now. Or I'm not going to see it. Yeah. All right, next one. X over 5 equals to 20. That line there, that fraction line, means divide. So that means if I want to get rid of this 5, I need to multiply 5 on one side and multiply 5 on the other. These will cancel out. I'm left with x on the left-hand side, and it should equal me to 100. Okay, hopefully that's simple enough. If you need to rewatch it, if you want to pause it, you're more than welcome to. Let's do example number 2. Now, example number 2 is when answers are not whole numbers, meaning that they're not really nice numbers like example number 1 here. Okay, they can give me a fraction number, okay, and so on and so on. Now, I've got 2 examples. The first one here, h minus -1 equals to 4. How we're going to approach this first is the following. I've got a minus and a minus here, or negative and a negative, right? If we remember our rule, okay, for the following, minus and a minus gives me plus, plus plus gives me plus, minus plus gives me minus, okay? A negative number, positive, and a positive number gives me a negative number. A negative and a negative gives me a positive and a positive give me a positive number. Okay, so I've got 2 negatives by using this rule right here, which is something that we learned in year 7. Okay, that means I can change this to a plus. I'm going to rewrite the equation. H plus 1 equals to 4. Okay, if I want h to be by itself, what do I need to get rid of? That plus 1. To get rid of that plus 1, I need to do the opposite. The opposite of plus 1 is minus 1. What I do to one side, I must do it to the other. 1 minus 1 equals me to 0. I'm left with h equal me to 3. So h is equal to 3. And it must look this way for equations, for the working out. Okay. All right, next one right here. This is when my answers are not whole numbers. Okay, specifically. We know between 4q equals to 7. Between 4 and q, there's an invisible multiplication sign. The opposite of multiplication is division. So I'm going to divide 4 because I want to get rid of that 4 first. Yep. Do it to one side. I have to do it to the other. 4 divided by 4 gives me 1. Okay. In other words, the left-hand side is going to be q equal me to 7 over 4. It's not going to be a whole number because I can't divide 7 by 4 evenly. Okay, so that's all for today. Hopefully that makes sense. If it doesn't, rewatch the video as many times as you want until you understand it. Then I'll see you guys soon. Bye.